Everyone's heard about costly ADA lawsuits that are frivolous and hurting small businesses, but have you ever heard of a PAGA lawsuit? Coming up, I'll tell you how a little-known California law is devastating small businesses across the state, hurting workers, and enriching unscrupulous lawyers at the same time, and what we can do to overturn this law. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and I want to talk to you about frivolous lawsuits in the state of California. Look, everyone fears getting the notice. You've been sued. And you sit there and you say, did I do something wrong? Do I need to get a lawyer? How much is this going to cost me? And in some cases, lawsuits are legitimate. It's how we hold businesses and each other accountable for doing what's right. And when you're hurt and there are real damages, you have an avenue to go get remedy. But in the state of California, frivolous lawsuits are at an all-time high. And it's all due to the Private Attorney General Act, PAGA. PAGA is a law that was passed with the support of liberal Democrat politicians and the trial attorneys lobby. They wanted to basically provide full employment for trial attorneys to go and sue businesses for minor technical violations relating to the state labor laws. Now, California labor laws and regulations are very complex. In the 1950s, the California Chamber of Commerce put out a digest, a summary, like the Reader's Digest, of California labor law and regulations to its members. And it was a little thin booklet. And if you got this booklet, it told you all the things you needed to know as a small business that you had to comply with regarding how to treat your employees, rules and regulations, lunchtime, sick leave, and all the details. In the 1990s, it became more like a guide, about an inch thick. Today, the California Chamber of Commerce published booklet on California labor regulations is 3.5 inches thick. And of course, they tell you just go to the website because there's constantly regulations and mandates and rules being applied. Now, what PAGA says is that if a business is found to be non-compliant with any of the rules or regulations, not just laws, but rules and regulations that are just merely the interpretation and the musings of state bureaucrats. If you're not compliant with every single one of those items, you are faced with a PAGA lawsuit, and it allows for massive penalties to be levied against your business. PAGA lawsuits also allow these lawyers to walk into a business, and even without being able to allege a specific violation, they can demand records and documents and access to payroll systems and files and HR reports just on a fishing expedition. And take a look at what really is the impact of PAGA. PAGA results in massive costs to businesses. It results in very little benefit to employees that are the alleged victims, and it enriches the lawyers. Google was sued under PAGA, and they threw $1 million at this unscrupulous lawyer for a settlement. The California state government, under the $1 million settlement, got $488,000 because under PAGA, the state gets a bounty, a commission. See, those politicians are always not only trying to empower their special interests with these little giveaways, but they are looking for money for the state as well. So under the $1 million, $488,000 went to the state of California as a rake, as a profit share. The attorney got $330,000. Now, let's do the math on that. That's 488 plus 330. That's a total of 81.8% of the settlement went to the lawyer, went to the state of California. How much went to the employees that were the victims? less than 20%. It's 18.2%. Each employee got $15. And I know you're asking, what was the alleged violation? The alleged violation had to do with employees getting a paycheck with the wrong name of the legal entity that they were being paid from, which either the pot of money that they were being paid from. These are very minor violations, and there's no way to say that an employee has been a victim as a result. Another PAGA lawsuit was filed against an individual who had a temperature in the bathroom that was not within the temperature range mandated by the state of California rules. Oh, you do know that as a business owner, you must measure the temperature of your restroom to make sure that it's not too cold, not too warm. You did know that, right? The state of California has that rule. Apparently, if your restroom is colder than 68 degrees or warmer than 78 degrees, that 10-degree range, you are violating California state labor law. And yes, under PAGA, an attorney sued a business under this little small technical violation. The examples of horror stories and frivolous lawsuits goes on and on and on. Now, again, I am not saying that every business is perfect, and there are many businesses out there that are predatory and do violate labor laws, and they do it repeatedly, and they need to be disciplined and punished, and the employees need to be compensated. But all the other states in the union have a government enforcement agency that does that, and it works quite well. California is the only state that has decided to use the concept of worker injury to basically fleece the businesses across the state. In fact, when government agencies take labor violations on as an enforcement action, employees actually get more money and the businesses spend less money on legal settlement costs. So there was an analysis done by CABIA, the California Business and Industrial Alliance. They are an expert organization in PAGA. They are actually leading the opposition to PAGA, asking for reforms. And under PAGA, the workers received on average $1,300 from the cases that were examined in terms of compensation. But when the Labor and Workforce Development Agency, the LWDA of the state of California, took on the enforcement action, the workers that were injured got 4.5 times larger payment, $5,700. And remember, when I talk about injury, I'm not talking about they lost a finger or a leg. I'm talking about these are technical compliance issues. A lot of times it's something where a PAGA attorney will come in and say, you didn't give them the lunch break that they needed. And the employer says, we told everyone to take a lunch. Yes, you told them to take a lunch, but did you make sure that they took that lunch? I'm serious. This has been a very common PAGA lawsuit, that the employer did not stand over them and wag their finger, demanding that they take a lunch. This is the insanity that we're seeing in California with these PAGA lawsuits. Employers who were hit with a PAGA case ended up paying $1.1 million in legal defenses versus $790,000 when they were negotiating with the state of California LWDA. PAGA attorneys yield 33% of the workers' total recovery. And it's an average of $372,000 per case that they file. When the state of California goes after an employer, no attorney's fees are awarded. The attorneys don't get rich. The company gets fined and the employees get made whole. So PAGA, it needs to be repealed. There is an initiative on the 2024 ballot that Reform California has endorsed to repeal PAGA and return authority for labor law enforcement to the state of California. We also provide businesses with a one-time correction period that if they are caught not complying with a certain rule or regulation in that massive tome of California labor law regulations, that they will be given a grace period to fix the problem, correct the problem, and provided that they don't violate that rule again, they'll not face a penalty or a fine. If they violate it again, then they're going to face massive penalties and fines. And I think that that is a fair and equitable way to make sure that we improve labor law compliance without basically destroying businesses and creating a very, very predatory environment where businesses are basically trying to do their best, and they're taking care of their employees, and they're following the spirit of the rules. And it's a good workplace, but someone sees a buck can be made by filing a frivolous lawsuit and shaking them down. Help us with our efforts to reform PAGA, to repeal it in the state of California, and help us spread the word as to this terrible law that could hurt businesses all around the state. Go to the website defendfreedomtowork.com. Defendfreedomtowork.com. Share the website with everyone you know. Contribute if you can, because we are entirely funded by grassroots contributors. No large business contributions. We're all grassroots activists at Reform California working to make our state a better place. And of course, like and subscribe to this video so that it improves the algorithm and shares it with more people. Until next time, this is Reform California with Carl DeMaio. Thanks for watching. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.